Aloha, everyone, and welcome to this live Healing Moments webinar. And I'm so very grateful to be with you today. And today we're webinaring from Makapu'u. This is a beach down the coast from here where I live. And it's one of my favorite views. I just love it. It's so pretty. And so I've got this virtual background. So if you see me kind of weaving in and out, you'll know why. So welcome to July, the month of transition. And first, a word about our program. Healing Moments is a safe space to discuss a spiritual perspective on what's happening in the world. And together we're finding the answers to life's big questions, tuning into our hearts and moving into the new dimensional energies. Our topic today is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I just find that such an inspiring quote by the quantum physicist Max Planck. And this is something that the founder and my mentor, founder of Signature Cell Healing, my mentor, Kahu Fred Sterling, has talked about for a long time. So I kind of pulled that out of my presentation for the Signature Cell Healing workshops, because we do talk a lot about the power of our thoughts. So this is something I'd like to focus on with you today. And we'll go into the topic after I do an opening prayer and we do a little breathing. So first, I'd like to open with a prayer. So just get comfortable where you are. And this is the 7th month of the year, and the prayer is the 7th of the 10 principles of consciously creating. And this type of prayer we're talking about here is not a religious act or a religious prayer. What it's meant to do is open the channels to the unseen forces of light so that we can express what it is that we want to consciously create in our lives. And that way we can listen for the answers in meditation and guide our lives going forward in love. So join with me in this prayer and just get centered and take a deep breath. And I call upon the Creator, the Christ light, the Goddess wheel of love, and all the beautiful energies of the highest light of love. I choose to come forth to guide this journey of the Healing Moments program this month. We call forth the higher selves of all those here in the gathering now, and for those that will listen on the recording, to come forth in love, to balance our energies in the highest light of love. We pray now that what we say here and what we exchange be most beneficial to everyone listening. And we call upon the elemental goddess sisters of Pele, Isis, Mariah, and Gaia to bring forth the balance on all 4 bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We offer this prayer in love. Amen. And so I'd like to guide you in a brief 5-breath self-healing meditation. So we'll take 5 breaths at each of the hand placements, and you can learn more about the 5-breath self-healing meditation on the signaturecellhealing.com website. So when you breathe in this meditation, you want to breathe it in through your crown chakra, and imagine you're taking a breath like a dolphin would, and you bring it in through your crown chakra, golden particles. They go through your pineal gland in the center of your head, changing to white light, and then you draw it down into your heart chakra. Lock it, hold the breath, and then when you exhale, it goes up to your shoulders, down your palms, down to your palms, and out your palms to whatever part of the body that you are focused on. Excuse me. So we begin at the crown chakra. So one hand up here, right palm up, left palm on top. Breathe in, lock it, and then send the light into your whole head. The whole cranium is filling up with this beautiful white light. And the next breath goes to your I got to take off my glasses, to your eyes. So your index finger and your middle finger on your closed eyelids. Breathe in, hold it, exhale into your eyes and let it go all the way back to the back of your head, optic nerve, vagus nerve, and throughout your body. And then when you're ready, go to your heart muscle and put your right palm there, left palm on top, thumbs pointing up towards your neck. Breathe in, hold it. Exhale into your heart muscle and let your whole chest fill up with this healing white light. Next to your stomach at the third chakra, right palm down, left palm on top. Breathe in. Exhale into your stomach and let the light go through all the organs in this part of your body. Just feel the light circulating. And then go down to your second chakra, which is right above the pubic symphysis, right above your hip level. Breathe. Exhale into this area where we have the bladder, reproductive organs, all these important functions of our body. Breathe in and let the light flow through there. And just allow the light to circulate now and center into this understanding that when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And just feel the energy of that statement. Feels good, yeah? And if you want to learn more about the 5 breath self-healing meditation or signature cell healing, there are workshops coming up perhaps later this year and into 2022. Keep track of it at signaturecellhealing.com because we're going to get an all new website there too. And you want to see what that looks like pretty soon. Anyway, back to the topic. So the topic is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So excuse me, let me take a drink, get that frog out of my throat. I thought about this statement because it is in the Signature Cell Healing Workshop and we do talk about it, but I wanted to look at it in a little bit of a different way this time. So I took this whole sentence, and if you want to, you can go to my website, KarinnaNielsen.com, and look at the write-up on the Healing Moments webinar page, and you can see the whole sentence. When you change, that's one part of it. When you change, that's part one. Part two is the way you look at things. That's part two. Part three is the things you look at. That's three. And the last one part is 4 is change. So think of it in 4 parts. Try this with me. You're gonna be amazed. So if we look at the first part of this statement, when you change, if you just take that statement right there, we know from this that it's about me changing. So I'm saying when you change, but I'm reading it, right? Or you're reading it. So it's not about the other people in my life. It's about me changing. Okay, so there's really profound already right away, because it's not the other people in your life that need to change. It's you or it's me. So that puts a lot of great responsibility on, responsibility, but also ownership on what's in my life and how my life is, and that I know that I can change it, right? So it's first of all, the statement, when you change, that it's about me changing. And the other part of that is I can change. So meaning I don't have to stay the way I am right now, that I can change. So I think a lot of people might think, gee, this is just the way I am. And that's the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. But that's really not, that's really not the truth, because we can change. So when you change, it implies that it's about me changing and that I can change and it's possible. And it focuses my life and my life changes on me and my activity, my responsibility, and my thoughts. So, chime in here anytime in the chat if you have a question, or I've got Facebook Messenger going here, which is another way that you can, oh, wait, where is it? I had Facebook Messenger going. Here it is. Okay. So if you have anything that you want to ask that you don't want to raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat in Zoom, or you can put it in Facebook Messenger. Okay. So that's the first part, when you change. Okay. The next part is the way you look at things. Okay. So when I just take that part, excuse me, the way you look at things, that means there's a way that I'm seeing things, and there are other ways to see things, right? So that means all I have to do is change my perspective or change my way of looking at things. And I have the ability to do that. So when you change the way you look at things, implies that there is another way of looking at things, and that I can change the perspective and get a different view on something that I might have been looking at the same way for a long time, and it's not what I like, and it's not changing. So I have the ability to change my perspective. That's just really powerful right there, I think, because a lot of people might say, hey, this is the way it is because that's the way I see it, and you're wrong the way you see it, implying that, right? So think about that. We do there are other ways of seeing things, and they're all okay. They're all about perspective and about how we see things. Right. Okay. So Mahinako says, whoa, talk about alternative views. Right. Isn't it profound? So I was just I was in meditation this morning, and I was thinking about our topic. And I was thinking, yeah, I mean, people have quoted Max Planck, who was a quantum physicist, for a long time, right? He lived early in the last century. He was around, Einstein's time, that type of thing. And when I said this to my husband, who's from Europe, he goes, oh yeah, Max Planck Institute. I mean, everybody knows about, an institute that he founded, and it's still very well known in Europe. So we know that, and we also, this quote has also been attributed to other spiritualists who have quoted Max Planck, but it really is original from Max Planck's research in quantum physics. So we're talking about, and we could probably bring this in here because this is relates to the observer principle in quantum physics, which means just by looking at something, that something changes based on your observation. So that's this first part of the statement, basically. So we as the observer are changing, we're interacting with the thing that we're looking at. And as we're looking at that thing, and so don't just think of it as like a little particle and I'm a scientist looking at a petri dish or something like that. Think about it as in terms of events in your life, people in your life, situations in your life that you're looking at every day, that you're observing, that you're maybe you're not even objectively observing them. Maybe you're immersed in them and feeling like, oh my God, this is horrible. What do I do? You have control. You actually basically have the observer. If you let's put it this way. If you recognize that by being the observer, you have the ability to change your perspective and therefore change what is happening to you in your life. So Let's look at the rest of, let's go on from, we'll get back to Max in a minute because I got some other quotes from him that are just as mind boggling as this one was for me personally. Let's look at part 3 of that statement. And part 3 is, okay, so we've got when you change the way you look at things, comma, the things you look at. All right, so let's think about that part. This is the third part. Ask yourself, what am I looking at? So this part says the things you look at, the things I look at. What are the things I'm looking at? What gets my attention? And are there things that I'm not seeing? So let's take the first part of that first. What is drawing my attention? What am I paying attention to? And what I'm paying attention to is what matters for me in life, obviously. So if I'm paying attention to it, for some reason that matters to me. And I can just as well change my perspective and pay attention to something else, because there might be something else in my life that I'm ignoring. Like, maybe I'm ignoring something physical in my body. I got that hip that hurts, or I got a backache, or I got something going on, and I'm not paying attention to it. I'm paying attention to what this person is doing, and they're making me angry, but I'm not paying attention to the ache in my body, or this pain that I'm having. Or, think about that. Think about what you're paying attention to in your life. And a lot of people could say, well, like all the news that we watch on TV, I'm paying attention to all of this chaos and all of these horrible things that are going on. Why are you paying attention to that? Ask yourself that, because you can shift your attention to something else, or you can change the way you look at what you're paying attention to. So let's bring in the first part of the statement again. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I'm looking at, chaos in the world, or I'm looking at buildings falling down, or I'm looking at things like that, right? What is my perspective on that? What is the way that I'm looking at that? And how could I change my perspective on something that has come into my attention? So, I mean, I'm telling you from my perspective, my attention, what is getting my attention here, but take it into your own life, because that's where it becomes more powerful, is when we each immerse ourselves in what role are we playing as the observer of life, and what matters to us is what we're paying attention to, or what we want to pay attention to, right? So ask yourself, basically, what matters? What am I paying attention to in my life? And are there things that I'm ignoring and I'm not seeing? Because there might be other things there that I'm not seeing that would influence how I feel about the things that I'm seeing. How about that? Okay, so I had a comment here in the chat. Just like changing your background on Zoom, you're presented in a new scene. How perfect is that? So I had my flowers set up over here. I had everything set, but I decided to change because it's a 7-month, and we're gonna affect some changes here. And so I took everybody to Makapu'u today, which is a beautiful place. I get the thumbs up from Sandra. This is a place where I like to stand and I haven't been down to the beach at this particular beach in a long time, but this view to me is just eternal. It's just fabulous. So anyway, now we have the fourth part of this statement. I got applause from Mahina Ku too. How about that? Okay, so the last part is one word, and that word is change. So in particular, I paid attention to this statement from Max Planck because this is a 7-month, and in the Lemuran numerology, 7 is the number for transition. And every year when we come into the 7-month, there are so many things that start to change and shift for me personally. And you may see this in the greater world. It depends on how much you really are aware of it. If you're not aware of it, then it doesn't make any difference to you, right? But if you start to pay attention to the potential this month to make really big changes in your life in places where you feel like you may have been stuck, or you're angry, or you just can't take it anymore, you know, try the 10 principles of consciously creating, which you can find on my website in the Lemurian Wisdom blog. And there's a complete summary of the 10 principles of consciously creating. The book is also available on the Signature Cell Healing online store. And the chancellor of Lemuria, who I'm a channel for, has also written up a very nice write-up about the 7th principle of prayer. So there's a whole write-up from principle 1 going through the months of January to July. We have a write-up for a channel for each of the 7 principles. But this one is particularly great because prayer is a great way to begin to make changes, because by praying in whatever way you want to pray, doesn't matter, but try it just saying what it is you want in your life and believe that you're worthy of getting it. That's part of it, right? If you pray and you pray with an open heart and a positive mindset, and you just say, I have peace and harmony in my life, for example, or I love everybody in my life, or I have a great abundance in all ways in my life and nothing is holding me back. Something like that. I mean, that's just examples of very simple prayers. And you can end it by saying, please light my path and show me the way. That's what I do. Light my path and I will step forward into the light. And that's a powerful prayer because we know we're not alone here, that we have our guidance and we have, if all else, I'm here for you. You know, send me an email and I'll help you out. There's help. We're not alone here. So after you pray, and we'll talk about this next month in the 8th month, the 8th principle of meditation, then we listen for the answers, right? But prayer is the beginning of saying what it is you want in your life. Because if you don't say it and you just kind of think, oh, that person is going to get my drift. I'm telling this person, do this, or, why is that person not doing that? I cannot understand why that person not doing that. Well, I have to ask myself, did I pray? Did I create a mastermind statement for that? Or am I just expecting this person to effectively read my mind? So the 10 principles are all about taking responsibility for my own life, and for not just responsibility because that sounds so responsible, even though it's a good thing, right? What it is about wanting, it's ownership, right? It's what they say, perfect word in Hawaiian is kuleana. It's responsibility, but it's also what I do. It's what I do to create a good life for myself. And I know that I'm worthy of a good life because I'm here. I'm here. The Creator sent me here to the earth plane to do a life. And the Creator didn't say, oh, go do a lousy life. I don't think so. The Creator said, go, have fun, enjoy this life, do what you really want to do. And so I put together a blueprint before I came here. All of us did. We all made a blueprint. We all put into that blueprint what we want to do in this life. And we could see the blueprint when we do like a Lemurian astrology reading. You're actually looking at that wheel as your blueprint. Or in a signature cell healing session, we activate the blueprint because it's in the pineal gland in the center of your head. That's the signature cell with your blueprint. So your blueprint is very present with you, and you didn't come here without one. So there is some intention in your life. So perhaps you'd like to clarify what your actual life intention is here, because you did come in with a life intention. And I really enjoyed looking at that with people, because it's so enlightening. People are going, what, really? That was my intention. So, and then you could start to work with it, right? That's the thing, instead of fighting against it. So change, getting back to part 4 of our statement, change are these things that I'm paying attention to, just the idea that they can change. So if I have something in my life that is onerous, or it's just, I just horrendous, and I'm stuck and I can't get out of it, there is the potential for change. And that's the end of that very powerful statement, that things are not static, or they don't have to be static in your life. That's a choice. You can stay the way you are. I mean, if it works, for it might work for a while, but then you might be forced to change, because we come into certain cycles in our life where there are these unexpected changes or cyclical changes that happen in certain parts of our life. So you could stay there, but sooner or later you might get moved. So why not make intentional change? Why not create change in your life? Because we all have that ability to create intentional change. And oh, that takes me to the channeling for this month from Goddess Pelekino'ahanei, which is just a beautiful writing called Liberate Yourself for a New Way of Life. Liberate yourself for the month of July. In the United States, we celebrate the 4th of July, which is liberty and all about that. Well, so liberate yourself for a new way of life. And she talks about creating intentional change, that's you create an intention to change. So if you're wondering, and I recommend reading that's in the Channeled Wisdom blog on my website, called, it's at the top, creating, liberate yourself for a new way of life. So creating intentional change means that the first step to, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, the first step is creating an intention to change. So that just means writing out how ideally would you like to see it in your life. So if you think you're stuck in a particular situation, go beyond that. Get up above it, like in our picture here. Get up above the beach, look out above where you are. Get above it, even if you have to, in meditation, focus into your heart and then rise up out of your physical body and look down at yourself and start to see different things around you. Create new options for yourself, and don't put limits on your masterminds or what you want, what you feel is that you're worthy of, or that you can potentially do. Don't limit yourself. Take the limits off. And if you don't know what that feels like, try it and then send it to me in an email, Karinna@KarinnaNielsen.com. Or you can even go to my website and schedule a reading. Oh, I'm having a summer special, hot summer discounts on readings and healings. So you have no excuse. You could sign up for a reading, and we can look at your masterminds, or we can look at your intention for being here. What is your blueprint? What is your goddess light intention for being here? We all have a goddess light that we're working in. Notice I have the purple, so I'm working in the purple goddess light. Send me like an intention statement or a question if you don't get it, if you don't understand what I'm saying, or if you have any questions. What does that mean to take the limits off of everything? Because, oh my God, I have to pay my taxes, or I have to deal with these people. They're my family. You know, I've been there, guys. So, you know, there's different ways of looking at it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So right now you might be looking at, oh my God, this is my family and I'm stuck with them and they're making my life miserable. How about that? What if you change the way you looked at that? The whole thing could change and it could shift your whole mind, your whole way of doing it. Because what we're talking about in this statement is a deep quantum physics principle. And Max Planck said it so well. He said it so well that so many people copy this quote all the time and we attribute it to other people, but it was really him. So Mahinaku says, Mahalo, Max, for your wisdom. Yes, and I have, here's another, here, okay. Okay, you ready? Now, okay, so I think Sandra has raised her hand and I'm gonna ask her to unmute and come on. You wanna just say it, Sandra? How are you? Hi, how are you?
All right. Okay. All right. So I'm just wondering, and you can answer it in any way you want, because you've both been kind to share us how you were able to successfully reconnect with your parents, your mother,
Yes.
and help her in awesome ways. So some of us, like myself, have struggled, and I can have another reading with you too on a personal level to explore this more. But I'm just wondering if you could attribute the success in just the reconnection part to this saying, to your efforts in applying this saying, so to speak.
This
Max
one right
Planck.
here, this, yes,
So,
in
but
reflected.
the other parties have to participate. They have free will too to
Sure.
accept. I mean, whoever initiated it doesn't necessarily matter. The desire to reconnect. But if you attribute that success to your own desire, then you're inspiring all others to, unwittingly,
Yes.
you're inspiring others like myself to like try harder, not think, oh, the other party is saying through other people too, not even directly to you. Sometimes things are so difficult that you have intermediaries that don't belong in their positions.
Okay, so I know where you're coming from. So I want to say, Sandra, first of all, you inspire me. You and your journey and the progress and the way you move forward in your life, you inspire me. So let's get that right up front. You are awesome. So and let me address your question. Um, I feel we're talking about my mother, and when I was growing up, I didn't really get along with either of my parents very well, especially well, my mom was just really different than I was, and we just had that was a portion of my life where we didn't have good relationship. But things changed over time because I was changing. That's why, not because they changed. I changed. And I changed the way I looked at my relationship with my parents. And it was about me. It was about me changing and becoming a more loving person. Because, the more aggressive I became, the harder the relationship was. So the more I got connected to the love in my heart and my goddess light, the more I was able to um, connect with them on that level, on a loving level. And of course, you can read in my blog stories about my journey with my parents, but long story short, it came to a time when they needed my help, and I didn't turn away from it. They needed my help, and that shifted everything, right? And that's what happens sometimes when your parents get older. You reverse roles and you become the caretaker, and they're like you were when you were younger, right? So that's just my particular journey. But it started to shift a little bit before that because I was working in the goddess light and recognizing the love for myself. And that helped me love other people as well. So um, let me get back to the statement to give a second part of the answer to your question, Sandra, and let's look at it again. When you change, and that's the first part. Part one says it's about me changing and I can change and I don't have to stay a particular way. So it's not about my parents. It's not about anybody else. It's about me. And that is so tricky to get because it feels like, for me, it felt like there are all these people in my life that are just being real jerks. You know, basically, I was thinking, why can't they be more like me? I was thinking, and then I realized, oh, they are like me. Oh no, I'm a jerk too. So, I mean, that's just my realization of, and I had some really dramatic times when that was just right in my face, like especially, other people that were just doing really mean things to me. And I thought, why are they doing that? And I realized it's a reflection. And as soon as I got it, there's like a light switch that goes on in your head when you actually understand the profundity of that, the working with the mirror and knowing that the whole world outside of us is just a reflection of what's in us. That's one thing Pelekino'ahanei said. It's a reflection, right? So if it's a reflection, what's inside of me, and I can change. So I cannot change other people. That's just not going to happen. So it's the easiest person to change is me. And that's how that statement begins, when you change the way you look at things. So focus on that first part. And that might help you, Sandra, because it's very difficult when you're inundated with a lot of negativity and things like that. But work with this sentence right here, good old Max Planck, and think about if that's true. Okay, first of all, yeah, that's a good part. But thank you. You have to agree that this statement is true, right? And
Mhm.
if anybody listening or all you folks listening, you don't believe that the statement is true, then it doesn't work. So you have to look at it and say, okay, I believe Max and I believe Karinna and whoever else says this. It's true. So if it's true, then think about what it means for each of us personally. And you might wake up in the middle of the night like I have and go, oh my God, if it's true, then what is going on here? And then you start to explore. And the depth of it doesn't end. For me, it's not over. I mean, I'm still diving into this statement every day and thinking, well, that's why it's not getting done, or that's why, it's about me. Oh no. So yeah, thank you so much for your question, Sandra. I hope I answered a little bit there.
Well, can I add? All right,
Yes,
all right. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
go
Sometimes I do.
ahead.
I mean, because I'm learning too recently. Okay, I won't go in. I'll just summarize. So that statement, that Max's statement is true, but there's also the paradox that there are people out there, and I'll call it a paradox for the moment. Not a converse, a paradox, that what the reflection can be that they are simply trying to make you look like a fool when you are not a fool. Okay,
So let me just
there's a
speak to that because
delusion. There's a delusion. Okay.
let me just speak to that because you said something really profound right there.
Mind games going on at times that are initiated by the other party, wherever this started. maybe in another lifetime, who knows?
Okay, remember, okay, first I want to talk about the very first part of what you said, other people out there. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and
Or
say
the other
there
people
are,
you're interested
I'm
in.
going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say there are no other people out there. There's only, and this is going to go deep, Sandra, I hope you're ready, because I work with it every day. There are no other people out there. There are only other parts of me out there. There are only reflections of me. And I'm human, okay? I'm a human goddess. I
So we
have
play
to
mind
work
games
with
with
this. Huh? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we play mind games with ourselves.
Yes, we do. Exactly, Sandra, you got it. We
So
do.
why?
Why?
Well,
Because
okay.
we can. Because we
Okay.
can. That's okay. So let me answer that, Sandra. Why do we do that? We do that because we don't have to. Why do we do that? We have a choice to do that or not to do that. That is our choice. And we come into this world maybe not being aware of these rules of quantum physics. These are actual physical laws that we live within this environment. And when we get it, we can use it. And the 10 principles of consciously creating are immersed in these laws of physics. It doesn't look like it, and Master Carol never really said it, but they really are in tandem with these laws of quantum physics, because there are no others out there. There's only other people that we create and bring into our lives when we create the blueprint to experience certain things that we wanted to experience for our soul's evolution. So the bottom line is, just like Kaho and Master Carol say, we're here to age our souls. So how quickly do you want to do that? That means you can stay, if you like, in a situation that is uncomfortable and is doing, not just uncomfortable, but it's the same thing going around and around over and over again. You can choose to stay there if you want, or you can bring more love into it, more awareness to the situation, and evolve your soul. That's the choices we have. I'll stop. Sandra, I love you. I love your questions. I think you're so close to getting this in a way that you're going to wake up and go, oh my God, why did Karinna tell me that? So I didn't get it until, well, I haven't gotten it yet. I'm still working on it.
Well, I wish it was as just as easy as being able to say it. It hasn't so far been able, just as easy to end this as saying, please stop, to the so-called other party who's
Well,
acting
okay,
like
so your
ourselves.
next step, if you want them to stop, would
I've
be,
actually done that. That's not worked yet.
no, it won't work, because it's not about them. It's not about them. And it's always about the self, right? And that's such a hard thing, a spiritual concept
Okay.
to get. And I'm working with it. Tell me, Sandra, I'm working with this every single day, and I got frustrations in my life you wouldn't believe, but I'm willing to take responsibility for it, because sometimes those things, they go a little longer than they should, and then I look at it and I go, oh, why didn't I get, that's about me. And it's so hard, because it's so human, and it's easier to blame somebody else. And but the problem with that is, it's easy to do, but it doesn't get us anywhere. Blaming another person, it doesn't. It's been my experience. It doesn't get us anywhere. And so I'm finding the 10 principles are better. Go ahead.
When the other party or parties are blaming oneself.
Yeah, you cannot go to the other people. So just
Then
take them
what
out of
are
the whole
you're
equation.
blaming oneself. They who are representing oneself is um actually oneself blaming oneself. And that, I mean, if the other parties are a reflection
Yeah.
of ourselves, then we're blaming ourselves in this mind game
Well,
going
it's not
that can go
blaming.
on.
We're not blaming, right?
No,
We're not blaming
well,
anybody. I mean, okay.
they are blame if they are blaming
Okay.
one.
Sandra, you're going to go back and you're going to listen to this recording again, right? Go to my YouTube and get this recording and listen to this part again where or listen to the whole thing and see what you get and look at that statement, type it out or something. I've got it on a paper right here. So look at that statement and think about what it really means. If it's true, there is no they in that statement. There's not another person. There's not a he or a she. There's only me and I. And the most powerful words that we can say in all of humanity are the words I am. There is I. And when we can get to that, we would get beyond wars, we would get beyond family arguments, we would get beyond everything if we are in the I of the I am. And it's such a deep concept that I'm just beginning to, tip of the iceberg kind of thing. So we come to the end of our time rather quickly. So Sandra, thank you for bringing these thoughts forward, and know that it's not about blame. It's about consciously creating. What do we want to consciously create in our lives? And you could say responsibility, but that has a heavy energy to it. I like to say consciously creating. And Master Guide Carolyn Kahu, my mentor, Kahu Fred Sterling, over at Carol.com. I mean, they've given us all the tools we need to consciously create our lives. And signature cell healing is part of that as well. So as we wrap up here, because we're coming to the end of our time, there were a few other things I wanted to mention that you can engage. I'd like to engage with you personally on anything that kind of ruffles your feathers on from this program. So you can read the channelings I have on KarinnaNielsen.com. You can email me at KarinnaNielsen.com. I've got hot summer specials on readings and healings right now. You might want to stock up now because they're good to the end of the year, so you could give them away as Christmas presents later. We've got a $7 print book special at Signature. So I think it's 7. I don't think it went to 9. I think it's 7 at the Signature Cell Healing online store. All selected Kahu and Carol books. And we have the Global Healing Meditation for Mother Earth on Tuesday, July 20th. We are making a difference, folks. Holding Mother Earth in love together every month is making a difference. So if you haven't joined us up to now, please join us. There's a page on my website under events, the Global Healing Meditation for Mother Earth. And I also want to say mahalo to Sedona Journal for publishing my channeling articles every month. They are just wonderful, supportive people. I'm so grateful. And our next program will be the first Saturday of August, August 7th. And hang on through the month of transition, folks. It's a great month. Engage it, engage the energy. Don't hold back. Don't stay in the status quo. Go with the energy of this month, and you can accomplish a lot towards evolving and healing the self, aging the soul. It's awesome. I'm so, oh, would I like to pull a card as inspiration for July? Very good. Thank you, Aldine, because I have already shuffled the cards and I have the Lemurian prophecy cards right here. And these I use in the readings. It's amazing. So I'm going to cut the cards and everybody put your energy into the cards. Oh, all right. Here's a new one. This is the card for July, and it's the Jack of Diamonds. The diamonds is the energy. We have four suits, right? So the spiritual is the spades, the clubs are the mental, the hearts are the emotional, and the diamonds are the physical body experience. And the Jack is the child self. So, my friends, this card, we thank the Chancellor of Lemuria, who is a beautiful channel for the cards, the Lemurian prophecies. Um, it's telling us to enjoy this month, to find the joy and the laughter and the fun in changes, in making changes, and knowing that life doesn't have to be so serious and we don't have to get stuck in things that are uncomfortable and that we don't like. We can change. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. How about that? Have fun with that. Meditate with it. I love you all very, very much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you. Let's do a Zoom together and consciously create changes. Aloha from Lemuria. Bye bye. Take care.